It's two questions. Just one is what if PDP can dedicate to President Jonathan in 2027? What would you think that will happen if Jonathan decide to contest against Atiku or any PDP platform, any PDP candidate, and eventually emerge the winner of the primaries? And I do not consider him as a one-time candidate now coming. People, Southeast and South House, obviously, is going to fall for Jonathan. What do you think will be the fate of APC?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, I would have thought that President Jonathan had his best chance of coming back in 2019. That was when I expected that he was going to come back. But for some funny, whatever reasons, I think he chickened out of that race. I've not discussed with him or reached out to him to ask if he's still interested. But knowing him as a former president and seeing the way Tinubu is reaching out to our former leaders, don't forget that Tinubu is a political calculator. He knows those who can challenge him, and he will do everything possible to make it difficult for them to challenge him. I don't see President Jonathan coming so late to risk a good pedigree, because now everybody is praising him that, hey, if we had known, we should have allowed him to continue. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it puts a lot of pressure on him to want to put everything at risk. It's just like the president of Senegal, Macky Sall, who we were all praising for developing Senegal, and suddenly he aborted the democratic process just because he wanted to change the constitution and have a third term. You understand what I'm saying? So President Jonathan right now is the darling of Africa, is the darling of the world, because he handed over power voluntarily. If he had continued contesting, then it would be a lot easier for him. But now that he has allowed that lacuna from 2015 to date, it means he will now come 12 years later to contest. I think it becomes more difficult for him. And like I said, what then happens is that the PDP will not want to take that risk, because if they put him and he should lose the election, or even if he wins the election, it keeps them waiting for much longer. Don't forget that PDP smartly, despite the opposition to Jonathan in 2011, they made sure he contested. And despite the opposition to him, also in 2015, they made sure he contested. Constitutionally, he would have been the only Nigerian leader sworn in 3 times, because he was sworn in after the death of his boss, Yaradua. Then he was sworn in 2011 after he won the election, and he would have been sworn in a 3rd time in 2015 and didn't won that election. Also, don't forget that from 1999 to 2015, 16 years, Nigeria had longer presidency in the south than in the north. That was made possible by PDP. We had Obasanjo for 8 years. We had Yaradua for 3 years. Then we had Jonathan for 5 years. So if you add Obasanjo's 8 years to Jonathan's 5 years, that was 13 out of 16 years. I think you're getting my drift. Then APC took over with Buhari. So if you add 8 plus 3, it's still 11. Okay? So it's going to be very difficult for the North to support 2 Southern candidates in the next election. That's what it means. Because definitely Tinubu will get the ticket of his party as an incumbent. There is nobody who can remove him as the candidate of APC. So the only way PDP can have a big showing in that election will be if they have a counter-offensive from the North. It will not come from the South. If it comes from the South, it's going to be difficult. And if PDP then decides to go alone and Labour Party decides to go alone, it may be impossible to defeat a Tinubu. So that's a lesson we must learn very quickly. It's about number. Let's forget about the sentiment of where somebody comes from. Let's get good candidates from the North. Let's get good candidates from the South. As long as they are good and they can combine effectively to take these people out, that would be fantastic. But I'm sure right now APC is praying that Atiku, Peter Obi, and Rabiu Kwankwaso will never be able to work together. That's their prayer. But the day they discover that those people can work together, you will see APC shivering. That is the reality.
This one is for you. It is maybe the younger generation may not know much, or if they had read much about you, maybe they will know. You are not a loony or a new signee into Nigerian political space. So I would say that you are not old horse in the game, starting from the 90s and as much as I can remember catching up with Dele and all that. Now, in 1993, your boss, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed, your boss,
MKO Abiola.
MKO Abiola, yes, your team, of which you were one of the arrowheads of that team then, and unfortunately the government did not form, and your other boss, your boss and your friend, President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, was at the helm of affair that dislodged this election. And going forward from then, 1993, you and your team again were in front line. I knew that at a point you left Nigeria either on exile because of Abacha through Nadeko, so you were in London with Bola Ahmed and Asiwaju Tinubu and all that. Your voice, I would say that you, Asiwaju and some other guys, most of you were one of the strongest voice of Nadeko. So I would say now, in this present, it is safe to say that this present government of Asiwaju, who happened to be your closest ally, as far as I know, in that mid-90s and 90s politically. So it is safe to say that the present administration is a Nadeko government, and you are not part of this government. And my question here now is, has there been any difference seen, even though Abacha, the government you and your Nadeko team fought against, would say that they were military and junta and the rest of them? Are you convinced that this present government is doing something, or they have done something far better than Abacha's first 9 months in government as a military government when he overthrew Sheneko in 1993 November?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me say that we came back from exile 1998, and the return to democracy was 1999. Excuse me. But from 1999 to date, I've never been in the same political party with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A lot of people didn't notice that until recently when I started talking about it, when they were asking me, how can you not support Tinubu? I said, Tinubu was governor for 8 years. Did you see me in his political party or did you see me in his government? We're so close that if I had wanted to be in his party, I would be in his party. And I've said it openly. And that's one of the things that also earned him respect from people. Tinubu used to speak his mind. Tinubu fought Obasanjo throughout the time Obasanjo was president from 1999 to 2007. So why can't Dele also speak his mind, whether his friend is president or not? People don't seem to understand that fact. I said it on Seun Okinbaloye's program on Channels TV before the election when he asked me, what do I have against Tinubu? And I said, he's a potential dictator. And some people went on fire. How can they say this? How can they? But what is happening in Nigeria today? Am I not right in my analysis? You see, my mother was an illiterate woman who taught me a lesson in life. He said, I will say it in Yoruba and try to translate. Mo mọ ìwà ara ilé mi kì í ṣe èébú. I know the characteristics of my relative. It's not an abuse. When you say you know your friend very well, it's not an abuse. You are speaking about your knowledge. The things that people tolerated in Lagos State, I couldn't personally tolerate it. And that's my view. That one man continues to control Lagos for 24 years. If some people like it, I can't help them. It's a matter of personal choice. So I chose to live modestly and humbly as a writer. And so I don't have to be in a Tinubu government before I make contributions to my country. I am busy globally. So now to your specific question on Abacha, I won't lie to you that a lot of us who fought against military dictatorship, I'm afraid, I'm not sure we've done any better than them. It's something that we should be ashamed of saying, but it's the truth. And that is why when people ask, why are you not in this, why are you not in that, I chose not to be, not because I cannot be. I just chose that I want to live my life of freedom. I've been in opposition since 1982, and I want to continue to speak freely to whosoever is in government, whether you are my friend or not. Asiwaju and I are not enemies, but I'm sorry, I cannot be in APC in good conscience. I was one of those who brought about Buhari in 2015. I regret it forever, but I was not a member of their party even at that time. And in 2019, I supported Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi. I was not a member of their party. So I've been able to establish very clearly to anybody who cares to follow my political trajectory that I don't follow people based on friendship or political affiliation. I base everything on my personal decision that out of two candidates, this is my preference, whether I'm in your party or not. So when I supported Buhari, I was not a member of APC, and that's why it was very easy for me to dump him 2 months into his government. Even before he ever picked his cabinet, I dumped Buhari, and I apologized publicly. And in 2019, I knew I can never go back to Buhari because they said if you are fooled once, it is okay, but if you are fooled twice, you are a certified fool. So I didn't want to be a certified fool. That is why I didn't support Buhari in 2019, and I supported Atiku and Peter Obi. So that's just it. I've never been in the same political party with Tinubu since 1999 when we returned to democracy in Nigeria. But it's unfortunate that were performing far worse than Abacha, performing far worse than Babangida, performing far worse than Abdulsalami Abubakar, and so on and so forth. It's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. But that's the sad reality of Nigeria today. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Honorable. I appreciate this because personally, anyone who had known how you and Asiwaju fought against the military in the 90s, the person would be saying by now you'll be chief of the government, Asiwaju government, because personally I call this government Nadeko government, and because of the principle. What I read, what I saw you guys at your young and prime age, and how we are going to do so. I am still hoping that all those things your team, all the things you people projected and said and told Nigerians in 90s during this struggle for democracy, that they are going to come, because I know that. Asiwaju, I supported him because of what you guys did in 90s, or that, which is why personally I am panicking about hopefully that something is going to. But if there should be any way you can support Asiwaju, I will appeal to you to contribute. I know, don't keep your friendship with him personal, because it was not personal when you people were fighting for this democracy. So I know that you will say that you are in opposition, but it will be more important to say that these are your core friends, your fellow ideologists in government now. So your contribution will matter a lot. Your manifesto will add more. So I will appeal to you not to sit back and allow some people who were not part of this struggle in the beginning and to come in and start making decisions. It's not about APC. I am not APC member, or I solely supported Asiwaju because of this principle and all that. I am still hopeful that there will be something far better democratically than what we've had in the last 24 years through his administration. So I will still be hoping that he will join this government, not APC, just to join your team and Asiwaju. Most of the people I see in this government today and others, those who are, I will count, I don't think I know even their face during the time you guys were facing the bullets in 90s and all that, both in London and in Lagos, across Nigeria, 93 and the rest of them. So it is not time to sit and run opposition, but to at least to support, bring back all those things you wrote in your articles, in your magazines, and then those things can be implemented now. You can challenge Asiwaju to look into that. Those things must be implemented. Please, sir, don't put it under the carpet and allow just political jobbers to take over this space, promoting lies and dishing out lies and manipulative articles to divert the attention. You guys have got some kind of impressing and endearing ideology in the 90s. So I don't think you have torn down your own manifesto. So it will go a long way if you can support and see how we can get off this mess, because Nigeria is in deep mess. There is no lie, two ways about that, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your kind and generous words, but I insist that it's unfortunate that you think this is a NADECO government, but I can tell you that this has nothing to do with NADECO. This is a Lagos government. What you are seeing is an expansion of Lagos politics to national politics. Nothing to do with NADECO. Majority of NADECO people are at home. Many of them are suffering at home. Nobody remembers the heroes of that struggle. Even in Lagos state government, how many NADECO people did you see there? So let's stop fooling ourselves that it's a NADECO government. It's not a NADECO government. It's a government that Tinubu carefully planned, plotted to get, and he got it. And I wish him the best of luck. I'll be happy if he succeeds. But if he doesn't, unfortunately, now people are saying it's our government. But I know that it's not our government. It's not. And I'm a small fry. I don't consider myself a major force in NADECO. I was just a media campaigner, and more so because of MKO Abiola. That was my primary mission at the time, and that led me into exile. And God had his plans, because without the exile, I would not have come back with ovation. And I thank God for that opportunity, and that's why I feel that I should not overstretch my luck. So it's not everybody that should be in government. If he succeeds, he succeeds. When you talk about our ideology, I don't even see how we have been able to preserve the NADECO ideology, if there was any. Everything I see today runs counter to what I knew we wanted for Nigeria. We blamed the military, we campaigned vigorously against the military, we demonstrated in public against the military. Now we're not able to demonstrate freely against a civilian government, and you call that a NADECO government. I disagree, you know. So let's all sit down at home, drink our tea, and wait for God will do for Nigeria. I know God loves Nigeria so much. Otherwise, Nigeria would have collapsed long ago. So I pray that they succeed, because we are all suffering. And me, I'm tired of suffering. I'm not getting any younger. We're suffering. But they don't need me. I can tell you, they have more than enough job seekers who are loitering around Abuja now. I know so many people who worked for this government to come into existence, and I know how they are suffering today because they don't have anyone to push, you know, for appointments for them and all that. So let's forget about this NADECO thing. You know, it's a Lagos government for Lagos people, not even for Yoruba land. So when you look at majority of the people there, you see that they are mainly, principally people who are Tinubu loyalists and all that. And me, I don't deserve to eat where I did not sow. I did not support APC. And I'm saying it publicly, I don't deserve to be in their government, and they don't need me in their government, and I don't want to be in their government, and I don't pray to be in their government. I just want to remain the Dele Momodu that I am, just a reporter. And I'm enjoying my reportorial work. That's why we can all have this conversation on social media right now. I love Nigeria. I love our leaders. I pray for them. I wish them well. You won't see me go anywhere, go and plot against the government of Nigeria, no matter who is there, whether it's my friend or not. But I believe Nigeria must move forward. How do we move forward if we don't have people who are ready to sacrifice for Nigeria? So if my own little contribution is this sacrifice of speaking truth to power, of raising issues, because a lot of people, Tinubu, where he is right now, is in a gilded cage where people will never tell him the truth. You can see even governors now have to grovel. They have to kneel down in front of a civilian president and all that. So that's how we started. That's how we build emperors in Africa. So for me, if that's the only thing I can make, that sacrifice is to at least hope he will read or hear what I'm saying, to say, look, these people are deceiving you. Did they not deceive Buhari for 8 years? Buhari is gone now. Everybody's abused. I could not believe my uncle Aliyu Adams Oshiomhole would ever raise a voice against Buhari. I couldn't believe it when I listened to what they were saying about Buhari. Now everybody is blaming Buhari for everything. Now everybody is blaming Emefiele for anything. Because Emefiele is down. A lot of the people who chopped money, they are all there in this very government. They are all there. But the man cannot talk. Once they put you in prison, they put padlock in your mouth. He cannot defend himself. I didn't chop a couple from Emefiele. I don't know him. I even told him to resign when he wanted to go into politics. You can't be central bank governor. You see, that is what has convinced me to continue to do what I'm doing. Because we tell them. And after we tell them what we predicted always happen. You don't have to be a prophet to know that Nigeria is turn by turn. Tinubu will leave tomorrow. Whenever he leaves, you will see how people are going to attack him. The same people who are praising him today, you will see how they will attack him. You will see all the giant worms they will bring out of the wardrobe by then. Mark my word, whether he spends 4 years, he spends 8 years, or he manages to change our constitution to make him permanent president of Nigeria, one day you will hear what people will say about him. It's in our culture. When you are in power, you are God. You can do no wrong. But the moment you leave power, that's when you will know that you had no friend all along. So I'm not going to partake in their shenanigans. Let them enjoy themselves and their terms in office. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Honorable. I do appreciate your time, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you.
And your kind response, sir. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.